In the dead of night, on a lonely stretch of Texas highway, a man vanishes without a trace. This isn't the plot of a movie, it's the true, baffling story of Brandon Lawson. What happened in those early morning hours of August 9th, 2013 has become one of the most perplexing mysteries of our time, fueled by a cryptic 911 call that continues to haunt investigators and armchair detectives alike. Brandon Lawson, a 26-year-old father of 4, was having an argument with his common-law wife, Ledessa. Around 11:53 p.m. on August 8th, he left their San Angelo home in his silver Ford F-150 pickup truck, telling her he needed to cool off. He was headed toward his father's house in Crowley, Texas, a drive that should have taken about 3 hours, but Brandon would never arrive. Just after midnight, at approximately 12:30 a.m., Brandon called his brother, Kyle. He told Kyle he had run out of gas on Highway 277 near Bronte, Texas. This was the first of several strange phone calls. Kyle, along with his girlfriend, loaded up a gas can and headed out to help his brother. This is where the timeline starts to get really confusing. While waiting for Kyle, Brandon made a chilling 911 call at 12:50 a.m. The connection was poor, and the audio is notoriously difficult to decipher. But what can be heard is haunting. Brandon sounds panicked. He tells the dispatcher, "Yes, I'm in the middle of a field." He mentions a pushed-over situation and that he ran into somebody. He then says, "We're not talking to him. We ran out of gas." The dispatcher asks if he needs an ambulance, but Brandon's words become more frantic and garbled. He says, "No, I need the cops." He mentions a guy and then something that sounds like "got the first guy." The call is filled with static and what sounds like other voices in the background, but it's unclear. He seems to say, "I'm not talking to him," before the line goes dead. The dispatcher tried to call him back, but it went to voicemail. Despite the disturbing nature of the call, the dispatcher noted that there was no immediate sense of urgency or distress that would warrant a major alert. However, a sheriff's deputy was dispatched to the location Brandon had given. Around the same time, at 1:04 a.m., Kyle called Brandon again. Brandon's demeanor had completely changed. He told Kyle, "I'm 10 minutes up the road, bleeding." He claimed he was hiding in the woods and that people were chasing him. He told Kyle he was in trouble and to hurry. This was the last time Kyle would ever speak to his brother. When Kyle and his girlfriend arrived at Brandon's truck around 1:10 a.m., it was empty. The truck was parked awkwardly, partially in the lane of traffic. A sheriff's deputy arrived on the scene shortly after. He checked the truck but found no signs of a struggle, no blood, and nothing seemed out of place except for its odd positioning. The keys and Brandon's cell phone were gone. The deputy and Kyle searched the immediate area but found nothing. The deputy ran Brandon's plates and saw there was an outstanding warrant for his arrest from a few years prior. Thinking that Brandon might be hiding to avoid being arrested, the deputy didn't escalate the search. He stayed with the truck while Kyle drove up and down the highway looking for any sign of Brandon. Kyle called his brother's phone repeatedly, but it went straight to voicemail. The next morning, with Brandon still missing, a more formal search began. Law enforcement, family, and volunteers scoured the rugged terrain around where his truck was found. They used search dogs and even a helicopter, but after 9 days, the official search was called off. They found absolutely nothing. No footprints, no discarded items, no traces of a struggle, and most importantly, no Brandon. So what happened to Brandon Lawson? The theories are as vast and varied as the Texas landscape where he disappeared. One theory revolves around the outstanding warrant. Did Brandon, paranoid and possibly under the influence of something, run off into the wilderness to avoid the arriving deputy and simply get lost? The area is known for its rough terrain, thick brush, and wildlife. It's plausible he could have succumbed to the elements or had an accident. However, this doesn't fully explain the panicked 911 call or his statements to his brother about being chased. He was a skilled outdoorsman who knew the area. It seems unlikely he would get so hopelessly lost so close to the road. Another theory suggests foul play related to drugs. Brandon had a history with substance use, and there were rumors he had relapsed. His family stated he had been clean for about 6 months. The argument with Ledessa before he left was reportedly about his substance use. Could he have been meeting someone for a drug deal that went horribly wrong? The mention of a guy and being pushed over in the 911 call could point to a confrontation. Maybe the first guy he mentioned was someone else involved in the deal. This could explain why he was being chased and why he needed the cops, but was also hesitant to give too many details. Let's revisit that 911 call. It's the central piece of this puzzle, and it's been analyzed frame by frame, so to speak, by countless people. Some interpretations suggest he says state trooper or I accidentally ran into him. Others hear I hit a deer. And what about the phrase that some people hear as shots fired? Or was it just shot? The poor audio quality makes any definitive conclusion impossible. An independent analysis commissioned by a private investigator suggested Brandon might be saying, I'm out here going towards Abilene on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. The guy's chasing me out of the woods. Please hurry. I was on the ground ... I ran into him. That's the first guy. I'm not talking to him again. This interpretation adds even more layers of mystery. Who was the guy chasing him? And who was the first guy? There's also the possibility that Brandon witnessed something he wasn't supposed to see. A crime in progress. Perhaps running out of gas on a dark highway put him in the wrong place at the wrong time. This would explain his desperation to hide and his need for the police, while also being afraid of the people he encountered. In 2022, a significant development occurred. After years of searching by the family, search crews found clothing, specifically a shirt, shorts, and shoes that matched what Brandon was wearing the night he disappeared. They were found about 3.5 miles from his truck in a very remote and hard-to-reach area. Near the clothing, they also discovered human remains. DNA testing later confirmed the remains belonged to Brandon Lawson. But this discovery didn't solve the mystery. In fact, it only raised more questions. How did he get 3.5 miles away through such dense and difficult terrain, especially if he was injured as he claimed? The location was in the opposite direction of where he told his brother he was headed, and crucially, the official cause of death could not be determined from the remains. There were no signs of trauma found on the bones, like gunshot wounds or fractures. So, the discovery of his remains closed the missing person case, but it opened an even bigger investigation into how he died. Was it an accident? Did he get lost and succumb to the elements? Or was it something more sinister? If it was foul play, the perpetrator or perpetrators did an incredible job of covering their tracks. No other evidence has ever been found. The story of Brandon Lawson is a tragic one. It's a story of a family left without answers for nearly a decade, only to be confronted with a new set of questions. The infamous 911 call remains a haunting echo from that dark Texas night, a jumble of words that holds the key to the truth, a truth we may never fully know. The case is a stark reminder of how quickly a person can vanish, and how sometimes, even when they are found, the real mystery is just beginning. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as captivating and heartbreaking as we did, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into unsolved mysteries. Stay safe out there.